Hi, welcome everybody. We got some fun stuff to do today. Gonna be playing around with charcoal more and some pastels. Hope you guys have fun. We're gonna figure this out, but yeah. First, I kind of want to check in a little bit. So, how's everybody doing? I got some green tea. Yeah, we got some green tea going. Getting in the zone. So basically, I'm trying to kind of wind down from a bit of a hectic day. And I'm going to be working with some pastels and charcoal today. Basically, my understanding is that charcoal is really good for shadows and form, like getting like the values situated. And then we're going to be using some pastels. I'm going to have to try out how soft pastels work differently than oil pastels. And that's part of the journey we're having today. We're just going to like see how this works, do some blending. Oil pastels apparently really good at blending. Um, yeah, I'm feeling better and better. Getting stronger. I had work today, so um, had to hold some poses for 20 minutes sometimes. Then I did the same pose for 30 minutes with a slight pause between the 15-minute mark. So that was a little bit intense, but now I'm kind of relaxed a bit. Had some green tea and some chicory root tea, and having some more green tea and getting ready to play around with some art supplies. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay. So basically, I need to fix up the desk cam. I think just like the autofocus is the problem, and the low light compensation. Yeah, I think that's like the main problem. Right, oil pastels. Yeah, I got soft pastels. So these are the charcoals. These are compressed charcoals. So it's not exactly. Hey, Rainy, how you doing? We're gonna be doing some art today. We got charcoal and pastel. So these are compressed charcoals, which are different than vine charcoal. So it's not. They're gonna be a little. It's more permanent. But we're gonna be using it for. I don't know. We're just gonna kind of play around with stuff. I don't really have any particular thing in mind. I could try painting with the pastels. I could try painting these things. I could try painting the box. Hello from Brazil. Hey, Joseph. Um, I could try painting the box. Um, I could try painting this box. But anyway, yeah, those are the charcoals. I do have these holders that I want to try out. So we're gonna be yeah, let me get some more ASMR going for you guys. Okay, what is this? Are these condoms? what? 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 Is there a condom? What? What is this? Oh, is that just a cover? Like if I need to cover it? Oh, I think it's just to cover it in case like I don't want to put it back in the box. I'm guessing. Um, it's you're from Brazil. Hey, Adrian. Yeah, I just yeah, I don't know what these are all about. We're just gonna put them over with my supplies. I do have nitrile gloves. I I do have a KN95 in case we worry about inhaling dust from charcoal, but I don't think it's going to get to that point. I don't think we have to worry about that, but I do have masks in case it gets to that point. So, having a mask when working with chalky stuff, pretty good. KN95s. You're supposed to put it on your fingers, so I think you don't... Oh, it's for your finger. But, like, if it's only one finger, I'd rather just use a whole glove, Like... like, come on. Yeah, I could just be like... My mom has one. She uses it for her finger. We're not even going to touch that one. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I mean, if it gets to if I'm working with super chalky stuff, we got the face mask. But I do have gloves. But also, like, that's what the holders are for. But I guess it's for, like, but then it's only one finger. She puts it on. Your mom does nails, and she put it on her finger. Yeah, I mean, it was like one finger though. How is that supposed to be useful for pastels or charcoal? Why not just use a glove? Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, we got some extras over there. I mean, it's going to be useful. I could use it to cover it if I want to, if I don't want to put them away, but I want to protect them. That would be actually probably more useful for me. Oh. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. Yeah, so we got the charcoals. Here, let's just start with this. Let's just start with a soft charcoal. Okay, so I do it left. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we got a soft charcoal. Okay, and let's get a white one as well. I do have the white charcoal pencil. But probably I should also get some extra scratch paper just to sit these on. Okay, I have two for pastels. Do you guys want to work with soft pastel? I want to try the oil pastels for now. You are so funny and pretty. Thank you, Rainy. Quack, 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 quack. Yeah, we got to open this up. I may as well wear two gloves just to keep it symmetrical. Are you going to live stream tomorrow? Probably. To look at my schedule, but I'm live streaming right now too. Yeah, okay, let me fix this really quick. I guess I can use a pencil. I should probably put some... We're going to work underneath it. Do you know Cat's Eye? No? I don't know who that is. Yeah, so basically you got to get underneath it. Okay. Basically, okay, let's put the charcoals aside. So I got my charcoals. And, okay, let's take a look at the oil pastels. Oh. Oh, okay, let's get some primary colors out. So, I got the white charcoal for white, so I don't know if we need white. So let's get a good yellow. I think this is a good yellow. Let's get maybe like kind of orange and let's get a darker red there. We need a purple, and let's get a, what is this, raw sienna? And we need a, what is this? Is this sap green? Doesn't say the colors. I'm pretty sure this is sap green. And then we need like kind of a dark green over here. And then we need a dark blue. Let's get two different blues. That blue and this blue. And okay, we need this one, I think. And we got charcoal, but like let's use a black in case we need black. Actually, do we really need an oil black if we got charcoal? Can you draw my ancient future? Maybe. Your ancient future? So when you go back in time and you're going to live in the past? Okay, we're going to stick with those colors for now. Just 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 for now. Okay, are we going to use this paper? This paper might not be strong enough. Let's get a few pages. We're going to use the cream paper. We're just going to use it to, we need to test out the, let's see how the colors work. Okay, so let's, okay, I think I need to be able to, I need tape. It's something I need. I think maybe we don't need to be working on this, or okay, let's keep that. Keep these off to the side over here. Oh. Let's just keep these here. Oh yeah, put them off to the side over here. There we go. Okay, so how about, yeah, this is not good. Let's just use the flatness. Use the flatness. Because I don't have tape. You're a great drawer? You're a good drawer. I'm a drawer? Okay, so basically, you're a dumbass. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's just start with some charcoal, get some value out. So, oh. Oh, it's kind of. Yeah, this kind of defeats the purpose of the charcoal. Well, whatever this is, we're going to see what it is. Let's just hold it in that so it doesn't get messy. Okay, so I need some kind of side sheet. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to get Imagine if Alexandria never burned. We'd still have all the books. You new on the channel? You're going to sit in on your process? Well, thank you, Jamie Turd Pencil NYC. I don't even want to know how that pencil came to be. Okay, so like let's not go there, okay? Okay, let's get the light values out. Maybe we shouldn't use the... Okay, so let's use the charcoal, the white charcoal, to get some light values on the cream. Light. Okay, just as a base. Yeah, let's use it as a base. And I think I can just... I think we're done with the black charcoal, but I think we're done with both charcoals. I just wanted to get it started with that. We're mainly working with the pastels. Okay, and this is... I need to get some actual paper towels. I don't have any though, so we have to use... Maybe this will dry. Where is the charcoal? Oh, there it is. Okay, we're done with this. Let's start, actually, let's prime up some... Okay, let's get our light colors. Or no, you want to start out with dark colors, and then go light colors over... Yeah, so let's get out a... Let's start with our dark blue here. Okay. Yeah, trying to get some value from this. Because it's compressed charcoal, I can kind of paint right over it. It's kind of interesting. Okay, now imagine... Okay, so we gotta probably take off the paper, right? I guess we're just gonna work with it with just the gloves. These holders are nice for precision, but if we want to have kind of massive fields of value. Well, you know, I guess like working with pastels and chalks, you kind of you have to kind of get down and dirty. And I'm kind of manipulating the chalk with the pastel to make something new. And it's like I'm manipulating it with the oils. Okay, so how about, oh, okay, says hold it. Let's go in with some yellow. Yeah, see how it blends? So I think, okay, I need to fix the camera here. I think, is it like not focused or something? Should we just put on autofocus? Well, then that's going to be like that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just fine. I have some nice green tea with me. Which one? Which way was it? Oh. Yeah, obviously the one where the thumb is dirty. Okay. Oops. I think I kind of ruined it. Maybe, I guess there is no ruining. Oh, these are already designed to be ruined. Yeah, let's go in with the blue. You can see the blending. Or is that the black and the yellow? Not the blue and the yellow. Yeah, black, well, I guess blue and yellow make green as well. Ah, I broke it. Okay. Yeah, these are, No wonder they're so cheap. You kind of burn through them. There's plenty of, there's got to be plenty of life in these. Go in now, some red. Some value there. I'm just trying to learn how these work. Mostly. It's just kind of like a burn page, you know, trying to see what actually does how these function on different situations. Kind of like crayons, but I can tell it's more painterly. You like that color scheme? Yeah, we're kind of just making like a amalgamation of colors. Seeing what happens. Kind of my art process. I'm not very good, but doing my best to just like kind of learn different mediums and see how they react to different situations. It's really how you learn. You learn by practicing. Just seeing what happens, like it's an experiment. Not really trying to be like freaking perfect. Oil pastels, yes, these are oil pastels on compressed charcoal. Yeah, I just like I want to work with the medium, not against it. Not trying to force it to be something it's not. I want to see how it works on its own terms. I'm trying to attune myself to it, not the other way around. So it's going to have certain tendencies compared to different mediums. So I want to use that to my advantage if I understand how it works. So it's like that's really what the study is. Color theory and blending is a challenge for me. I don't fully understand how colors work. So I've been experimenting with different mediums like watercolors, like even crayons, like Crayola crayons. That it's a little bit different of a blending. It's more like ballpoint pen colors as well. I will dig up my colored pencil set as well to try to work with blending via colored pencils. But different mediums have different versions of blending, And so like acrylics is very different than oils, which is very different than pastels. Oil pastels are very different than soft pastels. I haven't even touched my soft pastels. We just opened up both of them this stream. I'm working with the oil pastels first with the compressed charcoal. But basically, yeah, using the oil to manipulate the charcoal is kind of interesting. Like it makes it deeper, gives it more depth. I might be cheating by using oil with the, like I'm cheating depth. It's like I'm cheating depth. It's like I'm cheating depth by using oils and colors, but it's okay. We're just experimenting. And seeing how it works is also like, it's just, it really doesn't, there is no right way to do it except for the way that works. And so, but if I had more control, like if I had more control, then I'd be able to actually plan something in advance instead of relying on accidents, even though we like happy little accidents. Let's go in. Let's try to actually get in some purples here. Okay, now if we use the red to go into the purple. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Okay, yeah, we need to go in for some more kind of smoothing. Ooh, nice and like velvety. Okay, so I think with this we need to go in with some yellow. Ooh, well, that's kind of interesting because that's kind of a blur effect. I'm going in for some blue. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of got an interesting groove going on here. Blue kind of floats on top of the red and purple. Maybe this paper is a little bit too light for this, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. And we're just having fun. We're showing up to the page and having fun. Remember to play. Like I'm playing with colors. Yeah, it gets like nice and velvety. I like it. Like I like how at a certain point it gets like super velvety. And you know, sometimes things aren't going to be super pretty or glamorous, but this is how we practice. You know, we got to just show up and try things out, experiment. It's a laboratory. There's going to be times where you're not really making anything particular. You're just seeing how the material reacts. So as somebody who is pretty much just starting out her art journey, I have a lot of experimentation to go through. I enjoy doing it with you. Just hanging out on YouTube, playing with colors, making the best out of this shared moment. I think like working with the charcoal in certain places gives it a certain type of texture that it would be wise of me to learn how to replicate. And the oils with the charcoal have like a synergy, and it creates like a really smooth, velvety, darker version of the color. Yeah, this is something. Okay, now we want to go in here with, I think, the blue between the red and the purple. Yeah, I think there's like a, yeah, I think that's the way to apply it. Like just push it into the page. You're doing great. Well, hey, thank you, Jamie. You have to push it in, like, yeah. Yeah, it has like a smooth feel to it when I don't want to press too hard. It has a very smooth feel into it when I push it in that way. Almost like it's chalk. Like, okay. Yeah, I definitely don't want to be playing around with pastels too much. Even for like what? Like I think this is $8 a box. These colors, I could see using them very quickly. So I kind of want to just use them every now and then. That's kind of why I switch up on mediums, especially the colored ones. Pigments are quite different than other mediums. So like pencils and pens, I kind of know how those work, and they're super, they don't consume super fast. The thing like these pastels, they're pretty much designed to be melted on, like you just melt through them. It's like butter. Like if you really want to get the smoothness of blending. So I think like I need to be more selective with how I use pastels. Like, but you learn by doing. So every now and then I just have to, burn through some pastels. It's still cheaper than using up like other paints. Watercolors though. Watercolors I can probably make last. I can, if I want to work with colors, I think I should probably stick with watercolors or acrylic. But even then, I think watercolors are going to be my main. Oh, besides crayons. But like crayons, I love the multi-camera. Hey, Shogi Explained. How have you been? Missed you. I miss you so much. Welcome back. What are you drawing? We're just testing out the medium. I've never worked with pastels, I think, since I was a very young child. And I just kind of want to, kind of pick up where he left off. I kind of fell out of art somewhat early in my childhood, and I want to rekindle it. I kind of want to see where art can go if I don't give up. Well, thank you, Kuba. Um, because I've always given up every time I've attempted to do any kind of art, and so right now I'm in kind of a renaissance of my life. Shogi Explained knows everything about, not everything, but Shogi Explained knows where I've been the past 6 years and what I've been going through um, with all my surgeries and such. So I'm done with all that as of 2 years ago, and I'm just trying to reclaim my identity, reclaim my life. You just got back from the month-long trip to a... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Shogi Explained. Yeah, it could be very helpful. Every time I've gone to the hospital like that, it was very difficult, but every time I've gone, the last time I went, I checked myself in. And so it was like sometimes you just got to work through some shit. And some people are there against their will. Some people are there because they want help. And you can kind of tell. Like there's just a difference in like how people are. But I'm glad that you're feeling better. Basically, I'm trying to reclaim all the things that I basically gave up on when I was a young child. And I'm trying to reclaim them as something I am allowed to do. And I made my most recent video. If you haven't seen my most recent video, Shogi Explained, my most recent video is called The Core Wound, where I talked about this. And it's kind of like I've opened up something through art that was, I thought, something that was closed forever. And so now I'm starting to make that like kind of that long-term discovery of what life can bring me. Okay, let's get some more. Here, how about we try this gray? Yeah, just to get in some kind of juxtaposition of this. Get some gray. And the way it blends, like, ooh, look at that. Yeah, like the way that things blend in pastels is like super satisfying. Okay, gets a little bit of like trying to find where the through lines are and like the lighter values. Light is over up in here. Like, let's get the lighter values. Get some extra texture there because of the white charcoal. Okay. Are you filling up the borders? Nope. Just kind of playing around and seeing where my mind takes me with this. Oh, just using the gray as like an outline here. Just to put something like kind of more coherent through this. Just like a smoke over it of some sort, but it has like a architecture about it. Even though it's like smoky, it's also solid. I don't know how to explain that. Gray has a special purpose, it seems. Rediscovering your inner child is so relatable. I also need to start doing this. I want to watch more Star Trek. Yes, watch more Star Trek. Do it. You just randomly stumbled upon the stream, but have you had any surgery for your voice? No, I trained my voice. It's pretty much my natural voice. Like, to be honest, it did take time, but very different than it was 6 years ago. But I try not to think about it too much. I just try to think of life as one day at a time, you know? I'm not really trying to. What I've learned over these past 6 years is that if you treat things as like, oh, I'm living for, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of complicated because things really needed to change. And then they did. And then it felt like it's like I forgot what it felt like to be miserable. Which is the point. But I feel like it also kind of bastardizes some of my insight. But I guess it's a good trade-off. Like if getting rid of my insight means discarding also along with it all the negative feelings, and I guess it's a fair trade-off. But there is a real thing where my lived experience is fundamentally different than it used to be, and I don't remember what it feels like to feel that way. So it's like a good trade-off, but at the same time it's like it means that the value of like helping other people, I mean it's evolved, it's different. I can't give you the exact experience anymore because I don't remember what it feels like to feel miserable. Can you hydrate while dabbing? Yeah, well, thank you for joining the channel. Glad to have you here. It's been a wild ride these past 6 years. Remember who you are, mate. Today is your day. Don't settle for anything less than your standard. Exactly. Re. You're going to make it. Can you hit the dab? Hit the dab, bro. Ah. I think this piece is almost done. It's really a practice piece. It's just I wanted to see how pastels worked today. And I guess I did. It was an experiment. I wasn't really trying to make anything. Although I guess, is anybody really trying to make anything when they're doing art? Sometimes the happy little accidents are the best ones. Know who you are. Yes, Joshua. God blessed. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, basically, we're just kind of seeing how the gray sits on top of the other colors, how the purple kind of softens a lot of the other colors, how the red and blues turn into like a velvet when monocolored. And I guess it looks like going from light to dark is better. So like, let's go to the red now. Yeah, the red over the purple. I think basically I'm just gonna finish off with some gray on this corner. Yep. Nothing much I can really do anymore with this. It's a little saturated. I don't really know what it is, but I guess it is whatever it is. Probably. Let's I have a kind of a habit of signing things when I'm done touching it. And then today's date is 2026-02, and I believe it's the 17th. No, the 18th. 18 Wednesday. There we go. There it is. You have a question? Yeah, Toasted. Go ahead. What are you making? God for you guys. It is whatever it is. I don't really know what it is. It was just basically a test of pastels. Oh, I probably should have kept the gloves on to put the pastels away. Oh well, it's fine. Let's put the charcoal away. Already did, but I need to put it down, bot. Put it down. Put it down, bot. Put it down. Yeah, let's just kind of tuck these away in the corner. These are holders that are probably useful. I think it was just better to just kind of take off the, rip off the Band-Aid and just get down and dirty with the gloves rather than trying to use these holders. But these holders, I can see how they can become useful. Oops, I got a little bit of the page wet. I don't think that's really going to dry it. Yeah, let's just leave it there. It's fine. But I found this thing. I was looking for it because, like, when I do erasing and stuff, and I don't think it needs a fixative because it's oils and compressed charcoal. I don't think they need fixatives, but the soft pastels and softer charcoals do. Where's the blue? Okay. I should probably... Yeah, this is like... I don't know if I should do this. Oh, yeah, you just like wipe them off, right? I don't know. I guess you just keep them the way they are. I'm guessing when you're using pastels, you probably always get, like, if these are so cheap that if I was going to do something, I probably am just going to expect to, even if I'm not always going to use every single color, every time I use pastels, I should have the mindset that I'm going to use all of them and that they're going to be thrown away afterwards. Obviously not, but I think that's probably the best mindset to have with it, is that these are one-time use only. But obviously I can use them multiple times. But, okay, wait, where is this? Oh, this one is supposed to be here. This one's supposed to be here, I believe. Okay, yeah. And there we go. And put it away for today. When did you come back to art? The end of January, I decided to get into ballpoint pen, and it kind of spiraled from there. I got, I got a bunch of art supplies. I probably spent more money than I should have, but I got a bunch of art supplies. These are some kind of throwaway brushes. I got some new watercolor brushes. I got some professional quality ones, premium quality art watercolor brushes. So these are better than these ones, but it's good to have multiple sets of brushes. I think even cheap brushes. So basically, these are. This is like a higher quality brush set for watercolors. We're probably mostly going to explore. I guess I should just. I was going to keep these, but yeah, probably just best to take off the Band-Aid. Just be careful with the brushes and don't smush them and stuff like that. Because it's like these are just like plastic caps. I don't think they can be reused. I mean, they probably could, but yeah. So I got some professional quality brushes. Watercolors are honestly probably going to be them, besides crayons, because I did pick up a couple of boxes of crayons. Okay, crayons are a different kind of color. Like the blending is optical, kind of like ballpoint, but like a little bit more responsive. They're faster than ballpoint, so it's like ballpoint's more meticulous, but you have more control, and it has a special type of blending. But they're both optical blending as opposed to like acrylics or oils or watercolor that blends kind of that way. I got multiple stuff, multiple grips and gum erasers. I got acrylics. I got watercolors. I got oils. We're not going to use oils till I actually move out of this place. It's kind of like a goal of mine. I'm going to use it as like a way of like getting through this part of my life. When I finally moved out of here, that's when I'm going to start thinking about using those canvases for oil painting. I'm going to start using them only when I move out of here and put this part of my life behind me. Oil is going to be my, like, yeah, pastels. I can use oil pastels. You know, like, we're going to use pastels every now and then, but almost looks like a skull. Like, I don't know. This looks really fun to use. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with art because I'm trying to treat it like what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun and creative and explorative. I think I made that video. If you really want to check out the longer version of this, I made a video of a speech that was talking about the core wound. It's my latest upload video on YouTube, so I would encourage you to give it a watch. Where I talk about basically what happened is I was convinced that, like, I was convinced that I shouldn't do things if you're not going to be able to earn a living from it. And it devastated me, and it set me on a path that ironically led me to not developing anything at all, to the point of being able to make a live off of anything. Right? Looks like a bloody booger. True. Yeah, it looks really bad. I wasn't really trying to make anything good. I was just trying to see how the pastels worked. But that's part of it. It's like, I'm not trying to make a product. I'm trying to explore and understand art from like a internal perspective, and like not see it as a path towards financial stuff, right? It looks like a bloody booger. It's a bloody booger. Yeah, I saw what you said. It's a little toilet. I heard it the first time. Okay, you don't have to repeat yourself in all caps. Okay, come on. But basically, I had internalized that anything that people told me can't make a living, that I just shouldn't do it at all. And I internalized that very deeply. I talked for it in a 20-minute video if you want to check it out. It's called The Core Wound. It was very emotional. It was a very meaningful revelation. I should draw a sneeze next time. Basically, I'm trying to reclaim ownership of my creativity. I buried it along the way of growing up, you know. And I think, like, I'm 38 years old now. I don't want this to die. I don't want art to die again. Yeah, you're a bit of a drama queen. It's a little toilet. So basically, I decided that I'm not going to waste away my life avoiding things that people told me I shouldn't do just because they have an opinion about it. I'm going to spend my life pursuing what matters to me. Even if I'm not good enough to make a living off of something, doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. And ironically, if I treat it that way, I might actually be good enough to make a living off of it. If you actually treat it as something that you can develop separate from a career, like, ironically, that's actually how you get good at stuff. This is what art should be about. Yeah, it shouldn't be focused only on making monies. Yeah, it's nice to get paid, but I mean, I'm not going to get paid for my art. That's not a goal of mine. If that happens like years into the future, that's a different story. Or if my YouTube channel grows and I start to somehow make money off of YouTube, that's a different story. That's not even about art at that point. That's a different art. That's like the art of content creation. But better for art to kill than for art to die. True, Arthur. Draw a $sign with a bloody booger on it. Yeah, I just I started a modeling job for art classes at the college. And ever since I did that, it's put me in this mindset of like, hey, maybe I should study art again. And I'm self-studying, so it's not like I'm getting formal instruction. I'm not like trying to learn art at like a super accelerated pace with like a path towards some kind of college degree or some kind of career. I'm not trying to treat art that way. I don't want to go at that pace anyway. I don't even think I could do it. But I am modeling in an art class, and I'm kind of passively picking up on the on the ideas, like thinking like an artist in order to be a better model, right? I need to think about them doing their life drawing of gestures and doing more detailed work, using my body as a reference. I need to be able to think like an artist in order to help them the most. And so it's like by studying art myself, it makes me a better model. Well, I'm going to give you that's really absurd. Yeah, that's really absurd. I'm blocking that person. That's very very offensive for no reason. Um, Jesus Christ. You got some like anti-Islamic people in the chat. Jesus, that's crazy. Um, anyway, basically, I have been trying to reclaim my life these past 6 years, and so now, I don't know. Let's move on from this one. Let's just kind of get back into a more kind of steady rhythm here. Let's are we tired of the cream? Or are we gonna do? Let's do some orange. I think. Or should we do pink? This is all white, and these are like those kind of neutral colors and black. And okay, I think these are the more colored papers. What the fuck? Okay, whatever that was. Ew. Okay. Yeah, I got some green or pink. Okay, yeah, let's just get our old pencil back. Let's get back to the basics here. I got my lap desk here, and I got my mechanical pencil. There we go. Okay, I like this mechanical pencil. I like this mechanical pencil because basically it's a Pentel Orange Nero. It 0.5 millimeter. Basically, you only need to click it once, and it keeps the graphite lead at the same exact tip, just the tip, and prevents breakage that way, and also that basically keeps it really steady, and it just automatically reloads, and you don't have to keep clicking it. What are you going to draw? I don't really know. I usually just kind of, at this moment, my success condition, because I have a history of giving things up around this time. This is week 3 now of getting back into art. And it's around week 3 when things become the hardest to turn into a real lifestyle change. To go from just a novelty of like a recent, like, to like an identity. Like, I am somebody who shows up long term to this thing. That's a hard thing to do the first 3 weeks. Like the 3 week point is usually when people give up on something new. It's actually kind of researched. Um, like usually after about 3 weeks, like initially, like when people make New Year's resolutions, right? You have a cool outlook on many things that I wish to have someday. Do you have any advice for young trans women? Any advice on how to care less what others say and think? I wish I had good advice. I had to learn things the hard way. And I guess just get used to learning things the hard way. No, basically the biggest thing is just focus on what you need. Other people aren't going to get it. Family members might get it, family members might not. Friends might get it, friends might not. That's their own that's their own journey. You're on your journey. And the thing I wish I realized is that from the beginning, if I had to do it again, I would have stopped caring what other people thought way earlier. Um, People, if you spend all of your energy trying to change everyone around you, that's energy you're not spending on yourself, and you need it the most because you're trying to get your surgeries or you're trying to get whatever you're needing. And if you put all of that energy into other people who probably aren't going to change how they see you, you just I know it sucks. People want to keep family in their life. At some point you have to make a decision. Is keeping them in your life worth giving up your care? Because trying to wait for them to get it, who loses in that situation? You do. And so if you wait for everyone else and you keep, forgiving them for causing you like a lot of like just unnecessary mental baggage, emotional baggage that you have to carry with you while you're going through the most significant change of your life, sometimes you have to just kind of say goodbye to people. It doesn't mean forever, but you should accept it as forever. If people aren't going to be there with you, they're not ready to be with you. That's their own journey, and it's not your job to hold their hand through it. I know it sucks because you want to be like, oh, but they're family. I don't, but but they expect me to use my old pronouns. They expect me to use my old name. They want me to put like if you're like a trans man, for example, they're like, oh, they want me to wear a dress to go to the wedding. And it's like, like you can't sacrifice your self-respect for people who just want to make things easier for themselves. That's not about you. That's about them. It's hard for them, and they want you to make it easier for them, but you can't, because in order to make it easier, you would have to give up who you are. And if you do that, you're not going to be able to transition. You have to rip off the Band-Aid. And so I know it sucks. You can't have both. You can't have all of your family members. Some of them are going to be pretty supportive, but you can't count on that. There's especially the ones who are going to be really like, oh, well, I go to a different church and I don't believe that thing. It's just a fate. Like those types of people. It's not your job to teach them how to not be transphobic. It's your job to transition, because that's all that matters to you. And honestly, like, obviously more power to you if you can actually help them, but I would say that's you're risking everything. Like you fought too hard to get to where you are to give that energy to people who they do deserve it, but like what's more important, them or you? Like they're going to adapt anyway. Just do it without them and let them catch up because they will if they matter. And also don't tell them, show them. It's going to be easier for them. Like I know that it's really kind of not something that people want to hear, but the reality is that if you once you go through your transition like with hormones and with surgeries, it makes it a lot easier for them. It just does. That's my experience. Like some lady in this grocery store today, like just like didn't like she was talking about like me. She was like, oh, she was trying to make. It was one of those old ladies that's like trying to make conversation in the grocery store, and she's like looking for something. She says, oh, it looks like you need a PhD and multiple phones just to find anything in the store. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can. I'm actually looking for something. And she's like, oh, did she find it? Like she did not think first. Like she just automatically used she pronouns, like female pronouns for me. Like one time I was walking across the street and I was just like wearing my normal outfit and I don't even think I was wearing a dress or anything like overtly female, like as far as clothing goes. And there was like a man and he had like his 4-year-old daughter and she pointed at me and she says, oh, I like her hair. When that happens, it just makes it easier for people. That's why we transition, because it makes it easier for us, but it also makes it easier for the people who have a hard time with that. And honestly, it gives me a peace. Like it gives me a lot of peace knowing that I don't have to try that hard to just live my life anymore. That there's no like awkward silences anymore. Like early on in my transition, like right when I started hormones, there was like extremely awkward silences. And like people who were like, you could tell they were very uncomfortable around me. And then as time went on, it's just like, well, now that doesn't even happen. If I tell them I'm trans, they're confused because they're like, wait, which one are you? like, because I think when you tell them you're trans and you look like the way I do, some people might be like a little bit confused because they're like, wait a minute, I thought you were female. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I just said. And they're like, oh. Like they thought that I meant that I was like gonna transition to a man. Like when you get to that point, like then you went full circle, you know? But either way, that's not even the point, right? The point is that you have the inner peace, and you can't have that inner peace if you spend all of your energy, like the whole, maybe this is controversial, but like the whole, it's ma'am. If you have to yell at the top of your lungs to tell somebody your pronouns, maybe it's not worth trying to tell that person your pronouns. You shouldn't have to argue your gender with somebody. I know that it's so hard to resist the urge to yell at somebody to gender you correctly, but that it's almost like it's like you're just proving their point. Like if you have to argue with somebody about your pronouns, they're never going to accept your pronouns, even if you were like the most female, most beautiful person on like woman on the earth. If they're convinced that you have he, him pronouns when you clearly present as female, like it's only gonna just make things worse. Like those kind of people, they're not going to be convinced. And if you have to fight to convince people of your gender, then put that energy inward, not outward. Like I think it's just like I know it hurts and it's humiliating and you want to defend yourself. But what happens, what I've learned, is that you can't police other people's thoughts. And you wouldn't want to if you could. That'd be terrible. But it does suck because people are going to just be very opinionated and they're going to think that they should be able to misgender you. They're going to think that it's like that you're some political thing going on or whatever they're going to think is bullshit. And you just have to kind of like throw that away. Just live your life, put that energy into yourself, your relationships that matter, people who are supportive. Focus on your inner peace, focus on your life, focus on your job, focus on your career, focus on your hobbies. Like they already took so much from you, and you're going to give them your anger. They shouldn't have that power over us. As soon as you start doing what they expect you to do, they already won. And it's like, that's what happened to me. I just kept shouting and shouting and shouting, trying to change things. You can't change their mind. You can only show them and hope that they catch up. Eh. The last couple of times the light went out, it went out at like a really eerie place. Yeah, there we go. Feel like that when I'm keep correcting my friends, like insecurities about my gender being projected onto them. Sometimes I know this is not something you want to hear. Sometimes you have to take a break from all the people in your life. That's what I had to do pretty much. Now, there were some people who were there, but for a while, they weren't. I kept a distance. I didn't isolate, but I chose the people in my life for a time. I had to kind of like, what I figured out is that this is an extremely private moment. It's like going to the hospital. And when you get the surgeries, if that's what you're going for, you literally are in the hospital. But I feel like it's a very spiritual moment. It's like a private moment. And the people in your life who may not fully understand, they will understand later and you will be more equipped. But for a time, I only included people that were a part of the process, like other trans people, like people like clinicians. Like, I went to like group therapies. It was a very spiritual time in my life. It was almost like you're just going on like you're a monk. Being a transgender person going through transition, you're going on a spiritual journey. Sometimes you can't spend time with your friends and loved ones during that. Like you're going to a mountain in Tibet. Like you're going alone, but you're not going to come back empty-handed. Right? The fuck are you? um and a lot of the times, like sometimes people, yeah, like sometimes people genuinely make an honest mistake and we feel it so much deeper, which is why I think sometimes we need to treat this like we're climbing a mountain for a spiritual retreat, but it's like prolonged. At least that's how I kind of eventually found it. It was like I went to Tibet and climbed a mountain and spent time in a temple. Because you can't really spend time with your friends. They're all like kind of living their life as usual. They're going through the ups and downs of life, but like they're on a different level than you are. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of time away from that, and then you spend your time transitioning, and then you kind of slowly integrate back into that, and they notice a difference. And it's easier for them because time has gone by. And also, like, hormones do their work and surgeries do their work. And then literally, like, it's easier for them to see the new you than it is to cling on to the old you. And I think sometimes it's also, if people have known you for years and years and years, like family or very long-term friends, I think there needs to be a time, if they're not going to be 100% like supportive, because there's people who are going to be like super supportive and they're part of it. They're part of your journey. They're part of the process, right? They're involved. They're like taking you to the hospital and such. Those people are very special. Those are people who you should be giving your energy into. But nice, crafty Karen taking a dump. Pray for sacred all-seeing eyes auntie who is fighting against constipation. So basically, Yeah, may you turd soon and swiftly. Um, and without strain. So basically, except for those very meaningful people who are going to be like, we're in this together. Those are people like a supportive spouse or like a close friend or a very close family member. Unless it's somebody who's literally going to be there with you, you might have to take a break from the rest of your people in your life and find new people while you're going through the transition. I know it's something you don't want to hear, but you can't have both. Like you can't spend energy catering to their needs because you need that energy. If you're going to make it through this, you're climbing a mountain, you're staying at a temple, you're meditating. If they're all out like, laughing and drinking and talking about TV shows and stuff, you can't be doing that when you're going to a Buddhist temple, right? You're in Buddhist temple mode while you're transitioning. And if you don't literally treat it that way, obviously, but you might. But if you're not like willing to go to that extreme, you could at least keep that in your mind that you're on a different level than they are, which means it might be time to put some distance between people who knew you in the past and meet some new people. New people who are at least temporary people who are going to be understanding of it. And not trying to correct everybody and fix them because that's not your job. That's their job. They're transitioning with you and they're taking it harder than you are. Because for you, you knew you were transgender for a very long time before you even told anyone, most likely. And you're also the one going through it. They're not going through it in your level. They're going it by seeing you. And for some people, that's really hard if they've known you your entire life. And you kind of have to learn to let them do that. And you don't have to be present for that. And if it's hurtful to you, if it's painful, you definitely shouldn't be present for that. That's my biggest advice to you. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's truth, at least from my experience. I know that you asked for advice for young trans women, Kuba Pozniak, but that's the harsh reality. This is a meaningful change to your entire existence. Hell yeah, it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be life-changing. That's why we get the surgeries. It's life-changing. This is the kind of thing like climbing Mount Everest. Like this is like going to the moon as an astronaut. Like you're doing something majorly overhauled, but it's internal. So it's more like a spiritual enlightenment than like a accomplishment. Like, right, if you were an astronaut and you went to the moon, people are going to remember that. People are going to notice that. Some people are going to notice it, but a lot of people are not equipped to notice it. They see it as a crazy thing. They have like a weird perversion in their mind about what you're going through. You can't expect them to get it. And that's the biggest advice. Don't expect people to get it. Either let them figure it out on their own. But if it gets to a point where it's taking away from your mental health, you might just have to say goodbye. And goodbye's not forever sometimes, but it might be. You might have to brace yourself to say goodbye to people that you never thought you would need to. But just think about it this way. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. If they can't accept you for who you are now, and it doesn't look like they're likely going to accept you very soon, would they have, like, all it took was one thing for them to completely abandon you, then maybe that's like for the best, right? It took one fact about you for them to just completely change what they thought about you and whether or not they respect you or support you or not. If it takes just that one thing, oh, you're transgender, oh, but that's wrong, I'm gonna pray for you. Like, fuck off. Like, those people do not belong in your life anyway. And if they might change, but it's not your job to do that. Are you a trans? Yeah, it's not my job to change these people. They're not going to change no matter what I say. The only thing I can do is just live my life and be happy, and hopefully they see that, and that helps them. Because they're like, oh, maybe it's not what I thought it was. Look how like healthy she is. Look how happy she is. They start to see you smile. And then they start to get it. They don't get it when you're just starting out because they don't see it. But if you do it on your own, you treat it like climbing a mountain to go to a temple, to pray, to meditate. When they see the results of that, that's when they get it. When they see you smiling again. When they see you living your life. When they see you not constantly depressed and like having problems. That's when they notice. They don't notice right at the beginning because you're on a journey. It's like if you just start running a marathon, people aren't going to call you a marathon runner. They call you a marathon runner when you've been running for, 30 kilometers and you're like sweating and you've lost weight visibly during that marathon. Like all the water has drenched off your face and you're like barely holding yourself together, but you're pushing yourself to the finish line. That's when people see a marathon runner. They don't see a marathon runner at the starting line. They see the marathon runner towards the end. Because then they're like, oh shit, she's been running for 30 fucking kilometers. Let's go. And then they cheer you on. Because they don't see a marathon runner right when you're getting started. They see a marathon runner when you're getting towards the end. I feel like that's kind of what it is. It is a marathon. It takes like multiple years just for the hormones to do their job. And you can't speed that up. There is no way currently in science to just magically flip everything as if it's happened already. Maybe in the future. That would be crazy. You just get into a chamber like Green Goblin from Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe and like Green Goblin jumping into a chamber comes out as an anime girl with big old titties. Yeah, anyway, I hope that helps, Kuba. Yeah, it's something you need to hear. It's painful. Everything you say is so powerful and speaks to me so much. Don't ever say you don't have any good advice. Yeah, well, I'm glad I helped. It is painful. Some of the best advice is not always advice you want to hear, but it sounded like you were prepared. You came to me, so... I feel like super relaxed. That's what I really like about drawing. That it kind of just it integrates so many different things. And the past 6 years have been so tumultuous for me, and I'm at like a final stage of change right now, and it's like, the surgeries happened and then this other change still lingered and it's still being worked on actively behind the scenes, and there's nothing I can do to speed it up. And so art is like kind of consolidating everything together, and I'm going to bring it with me when I leave here. When I have my new home. And I'm going to push art further than I've ever pushed in my life. I'm going to let it happen because that's how things work. You just keep showing up. Just like with transitioning, I just kept taking the estrogen every day. I kept putting my foot down and getting on the wait lists. I did all the work to get my diabetes under control so that I could get the surgery. At the finish line, it was insane. I got my A1C down from 7.2 to 6.7 in a single month. And I didn't know if it was going to be possible. But I did it. I really fucking did it. He wanted it just at 6.9. I got it down to 6.7. Much closer to a better healthy, almost like, basically if I got it to 6.5, which I actually don't know what it was when I actually went in for the surgery, because that was only a month after I started this, like, this diet and that exercise regimen. I kept it until the surgery. It may have gone below 6.5, which is the very high end of non-diabetics. Yeah, 6.7. Hell yeah, Jimbo. 6.7. Yeah, I got it down to 6.7. I know how it be. It ain't my first rodeo. Yeah, you're tough. You got to be a tough bitch. That's what the T stands in T-girl, right? You're a T-girl. You're a tough bitch. It's short. It's actually it's a different pronunciation of the word T-bitch, tough bitch. It's a trans woman. That actually is a mispronunciation. It's actually pronounced tough bitch. You turn into a tough, like, titanium, like, beast of a human. Like, you're just unstoppable. You're titanium, like that song, right? Titanium. Am I AI? Wait, am I? Yeah, for some people they just need time to pass. And also time away from you, especially when you come back later after you've gone through your spiritual journey and your transition. I think time away gives them a huge, like, before and after effect. Because when they see it incrementally, they don't really see it. And the same goes for yourself. Mr. Shiny, I have no idea what I'm drawing. I'm just drawing random doodles. But I feel like we are so close to the process that it's hard to see the progress. And I think, like, with people who have a hard time accepting like, your change of pronouns and such, and also just people who might, like, kind of have uncomfortable silences when you enter a room and stuff, like, with those types of people, I think it works way better in your favor if you just kind of step away from them for a while. And then when you come back, like, later on, you're not only more centered, which kind of presents itself differently, but you're also, like, physically you look different. Some people, they're just never going to accept you, and then you have to, like, really say goodbye. But the people that you're willing to give chances to, give them a little bit of time, and then spend more time with them later on, when things are a little bit easier for you, and it makes it easier for them too. And also, just having time away from you, and then when they see you again, they're gonna kind of forget what you used to look like. Like, they're gonna forget that they even, like, they would wonder, they're probably gonna wonder how they ever thought that you were any different, because that's just kind of how the human mind works. We kind of live in an eternal now. And a lot of the times, like, I think just time away from people lets their reality reset. Especially since you're making a significant change that's fundamentally goes against their image of you. And I think if you have enough time away from people like that, I think it just makes things easier. Things are smoother. They're like, oh, hey, that's Rebecca. Like, it's not a difficult thing for them anymore. They're not like, oh, hey, Rebecca. Like, and then it turns into, like, oh, hey, it's Rebecca. Like, like, right? Like, the alternate way is that if they're super supportive and they're willing to do that transition with you, which is a special type of person that you should cherish with your whole entire heart. Time with that mindset that they're willing to try and they're pushing themselves, not you pushing them, they're pushing themselves. That's the difference. You shouldn't have to fight with people to make them change. They should want the change themselves. That's the only way any of us change. We have to want it. Nobody would have forced me to transition and get my surgeries. I had to do it. Nobody's going to do it. In fact, people are trying to prevent me from doing it. So definitely not going to try to help. And the people who are trying to try to help, they're just going to be like there for me. You know, they have the resources. They have the surgical training, right? They're not really, they're just like the final steps. They're not you getting up and putting your shoes on and, opening the door. That's you. And people might kind of like, help you along the way to that, but you have to step through the door and you have to get into the car and you have to get to the surgery, right? So it's like, they're not going to do that for you. And they're just going to be there when you get there to help you through it. And so you have to have that internal drive. And if you have people in your life who are not helping you through that, you can't have them in your life. I know it's like hard to hear, but it's the truth. And I wish I knew it earlier through all this. I didn't really figure it out till later on, towards the end of it. So, and here I am now. And obviously my life is only just beginning, really. Some people don't see it that way, and that's their problem. Some people see me as a failure. That's their problem. Some people think I'm a loser. That's their problem. It's not mine. That's their own bullshit. It's their own demons. They're seeing themselves. They're mad at themselves. They don't see a way to a better life for themselves, and so they're going to come after me because it's easier to blame someone else and externalize your anger with yourself to someone else. And some people, they show their true colors when you start transitioning, and you kind of just have to accept that they never accepted you to begin with. They had their own script in their head of who you were. And as soon as you go against that, they get angry. Because you're challenging their vision of you. They have like a neat little script that so far, up until you transitioning, you've been following. It may not be like positive even, but they have a version of you in their head that they see, and when they see that you're transitioning, that flips everything around for them, and they're scared because they're like, oh, that's not who you are. It's like, did you even know me in the first place? I think the most supportive people probably saw it coming. They probably realized something was wrong, and then they're like, that's what was going on. Like, they see it. They see the effects of it, but they don't know exactly what it might be. Sometimes it's a little more complicated because with some people it might be obvious. Like if you're always cross-dressing and it's more than just a performance, like you're like, oh yeah, look, I dressed up as a girl for Halloween. Isn't that funny? And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again as a joke, right? And then you're like, oh, you show up to another party and you're like, oh yeah, I decided to wear this. Isn't that funny? Right? At a certain point, you're not cross-dressing. You're just trying to express something you didn't really know how to put words to. And it's easier to think it's a big joke, because that would be more acceptable. Even though people don't fully accept men who like cross-dress and stuff, in their worldview, that's more acceptable than you being trans. In their mind, they would rather you be a femboy than a trans woman. They're like, oh, won't you just be one of those men that dresses up like women? It's like, because it's not about clothing. Like, it's not about like that at all. In their mind, they have like a certain vision of you. And as soon as you go against that, like it threatens it threatens their reality. They have a version of you in their head. Oh yeah, this person like went to this college and studied for this. Oh yeah, my big strong son. Brr, 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 brr. And then suddenly they're like, hey, like I've been holding this from everybody for like years. Like I am a woman. I am transgender. And they're like, what the fuck? Why don't you just be gay? Like, blah, blah. It's just because, like, it's hard for them because you've already had this discussion and maybe you even came to those conclusions. Like, oh, maybe I'm just gay or whatever. Like, a lot of trans women have gone through that. But, like, for the person you're telling, they never saw it that way. They're just finding out about it now. The people who picked up on your suffering, they're going to kind of be a little bit more understanding because they actually see you. They don't see a version of you in their head. They see you and they notice that you've been depressed. They notice that you hate yourself. They notice that you haven't really been showing up places and stuff like that. And then when you finally tell them, they're like, finally, I get it, right? Like they finally understand it. They understand why you felt that way. They understand why you were depressed. ¿Qué hizo? This is like a random doodle. ¿Qué es eso? It's been like that with my parents. They have a version of me in their heads that they refuse to change. And they're probably not going to change. And no amount of shouting, like saying, it's ma'am, it's ma'am, it's ma'am. Like saying that as loud as possible is not going to change their mind. And I know that like I feel bad for that woman in that video that went viral. And I hate how it's been used as like, oh, this is some delusional trans person. Unfortunately, that's how it's observed by a lot of these people. When they see somebody that looks pretty masculine, shouting in a kind of masculine voice, saying "it's ma'am" at somebody who is never going to respect that person, even if she looked like freaking like Michelle Pfeiffer, right? Am I too old? Am I dating myself? Am I showing my age by saying Michelle Pfeiffer? Megan Fox. Is that more like what this new generation of these young whippersnappers? Like if you looked like freaking like Megan Fox or like any insert attractive female actress. Or musician like that of like that, you know, like that person would still not accept your pronouns. So whether or not you're like quote unquote masculine or whether you're quote unquote ugly, that doesn't matter, because if you strip that away, those same people are still going to find a reason to misgender you. And no amount of convincing them, no amount of shouting, no amount of insisting what your pronouns are, no amount of yelling and trying to change everything, that's not going to change their minds. You need to just let them go. And it's really hard because they get in your face. But sometimes you just have to realize that those are just hateful people. And they're not going to accept you. And some people are just dangerous. And just like that, like, you know, we learn how to stay away from bad guys when we're little kids. Those are bad guys. Those are the bad guys they were talking about. They're a lot more subtle than the bad guys in the cartoons, right? And the worst part is that they don't think they're doing anything wrong. Somebody who is doing something wrong but doesn't believe they're doing something wrong is like the most dangerous person. They're convinced that they're just having an opinion, that it's their religion, that like whatever. They can just fuck off. And unfortunately, I'm not really in a situation where I can fully just say fuck off to everyone. I'm kind of entrenched in a bureaucratic nightmare of trying to get my own independence, but it's slowly but surely getting there. And eventually I'm going to be so powerful that nobody can stop me anymore. I'm going to be allowed to be myself, and I'm going to be allowed to tell people to fuck off if they're being a problem in my life, because I won't need them anymore. Honestly, it's already pretty much there, but there's certain people you kind of can't like be rude to, because like, I don't know, it's like I'm not involved with anybody like that, with somebody who is responsible for something I need, really, because like the college is not going to like the college I work with is like very like accepting of trans people. They're not going to be weird and hateful. They're understanding of my disability. Like, I know like one of my coaches told me not to think about it as a disability, call it neurodivergence. I kind of explained to her that like in my head that means the same thing, because you're just using a different word to describe the same thing. I am disabled functionally. So when you say something like neurodivergent, in my case, that means I'm disabled because I am functionally disabled. I may not be like literally like in a wheelchair, but my brain is in a wheelchair. And if people don't accept that, they can fuck off, because I know what reality is. I'm the one who has to live it. They think they know more about my life than I do. I'm the one who's been trying to fight this disability my entire life. I'm the one who has beat myself up for not being good enough. And now I started getting help, and now things are starting to unlock for me. My life is starting to open up. I'm getting coaching for specific things that are targeting my biggest weaknesses. I'm getting access to resources that I never had access to before. And now that I have those resources coming in, like things, I'm going to slowly but surely become not disabled. Is this abstract? Probably. I am not really in a stage where I can make deliberate artwork. Like I said earlier, I've been drawing this way because I just need to put pencil to paper. I just need to show up to make art. And I'm trying to solidify this into a habit. So just my success condition is, did I show up for 3 minutes? And we've been streaming for 2 hours. I did some pastel to begin the stream. And I don't know if this is more of a test page. I was just trying to see how pastels work. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about that, Kuba. People are going to say one thing, but their actions are going to say something different. That's why this is so hard, because, like I said, it's not going to be what you wanted to hear. It sucks, and there's no changing that. But like I said, you gotta ask yourself what's more important: helping them understand, or successfully transitioning. And if you successfully transition, they might actually understand. Because then they start seeing you for who you are. And they start seeing you smile. They start seeing you actually living your life in ways that you never did before. And then things start to click for them, because they don't think internally. A lot of these people, they don't go to therapy. They don't think about internal lives. They think about external. So if they see you if they see your external life not really changed, they think that you haven't changed, because these kind of people don't see that you have an inner world, that you are having an absolutely fundamental spiritual shift in who you are. But these types of people, they say, oh, but you look the same. You're not doing anything different. Nothing has changed in your life. Once they start to see changes, then they get it. And then maybe they, ironically, I think then they start to understand that some changes are invisible for a long time. It needs to be visible for these types of people. They need to actually see physical changes. That's why we transition in the first place. It makes that transition for them easier too. I mean, or you could just run around and shout at people and say it's ma'am. I mean, you're right. They are wrong for misgendering you. But is that going to get you closer to your transition? Going around screaming at people, telling them to gender you correctly, when if they've already misgendered you, they're very unlikely to be reasonable people. Like they're being extremely offensive and rude and disgusting sometimes. So why would you put your energy into them? You should put that energy into the people who truly love you, and you should put that energy into your transition first and foremost. There's always going to be motherfuckers who misgender you and treat you like garbage, and you can't do anything about it. You just can't. And I wish more trans people knew this, because if I had known this, things would have been a lot smoother. I'm so sorry to hear that, Serby, but welcome back. Yeah, we did some pastel earlier. I got my pastels. We used oil pastels on charcoal, on compressed charcoal. And I was just testing it out and seeing how it blends and seeing how it works. And so it was just kind of like a big mud puddle of colors, but it is what it is, and I learned from it, I guess. But, you know, I'm going to kind of keep like painting kind of projects, like kind of few and far between. Most of the stuff I do is going to be with pencil or ballpoint pen or crayons. We did a crayon drawing yesterday, but crayons are good because they're just so cheap. But like pastels and other paints and stuff like that, those are going to be a lot harder to use up the way I need to. And so maybe I could just use them as like kind of benchmarks. As a black guy, this is also relatable. Oh, hey, how Amaro. Yeah, and that's something that I don't understand because I'm not black. So it's like there are things that like people understand because they have similar experiences, and so I try to listen to what other people go through, and I also try to think of it as this way, is like this is just what it's like for trans people in a way that cisgender people don't get, because in the same way that like white people don't get what it's like to be black. And it's obviously not exactly the same. Because I mean I don't want to get into it too deeply, but I have no way of knowing if it's even exactly the same because I'm not black. You know, maybe some black trans women or black trans men can shed some light on that, but I don't have that experience, so I don't have that intersectionality, so I can't really speak on that. But I do think that it's probably similar. This is just trans people's version of racism. The transphobia, that's like we're living that version of that. Which sucks. But I mean, because you have two choices: transition and be subjected to bigotry, or don't transition and be subjected to actual torture. So like well, which one is it? At least with the external, you can have an internal peace, right? Like by transitioning and accepting that you're going to be subjected to bigotry, then you can learn to try to live with that within your community and with people that you love and try to overcome it. And you know, who knows? Maybe society will change eventually. but you can't hold out. And some people are like, oh, I'm going to wait until Donald Trump isn't president to transition. It's like, well, what if Donald Trump is president for the next 3,000 years because he found some kind of secret alien sludge that turned him into an immortal god, and now Donald Trump has enslaved the entire world? Are you telling me that you're going to wait until Donald Trump is gone to transition to do something you need to do? You need to do that shit now in your own way, and however the pace that works for you, obviously. But don't wait for some external thing to be a certain condition for you to do what you need to do. Some people wait until their 60s or 70s, and if they say, "Oh, well, maybe when I'm older things will be better. Maybe when I'm more ready." You're never going to be ready. You're going to be just as fucked up at 68 as you are when you're 18 when it comes to transgender stuff. Like you're I just Hey, what's up? Look right, Leon. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. So it's like this belief that if I only just wait until the time is right to do what I need to do, well, you're always going to find an excuse. You're always going to find some reason why you're not ready yet, because it's so much easier to not do it. But then you're hurting yourself because you know you need it. Eventually, you're going to look back and have regrets because you're like, I wish I did this when I was like 20 years younger. Like, I wish I did this when I was 18. That was 20 years ago. Hey, Axeloof. So it's like people have this idea in their head that, oh, I'm going to transition when my job is more stable. I'm going to transition when I have, like, maybe after my kids grow up. I'm going to transition when, like, oh, maybe I don't want to confuse the kids, and so maybe I'll wait until they're older. It's like, well, doesn't it sound like you're going to confuse them more by being a toxic, like, at least internally, like you're not healing? And so that's going to come out in so many subconscious ways because you're denying who you are. And that's going to have an impact on your kids. That's going to have an impact on your job. It's going to have an impact on everything about you. So, like, if you are refusing to do something because you think there's going to be some magical day in the future where you have all your shit together, like, am I going to wait 20 more years to start putting a pencil on a paper to draw art? Oh, but maybe in 20 years I'll be ready to draw art. Like, nobody thinks that way with stuff like art, right? Like, people say, oh, if you want to learn art, do art. Most people understand that. But if you think about it like, oh, but trans stuff, that's different. It's like, if you think about it that way, if you wouldn't wait 20 years and you want to learn art, but you're going to wait 20 years because, oh, maybe I'm going to be more prepared in 20 years. Like, you're going to wait 20 years to pick up a pencil and put it on paper? Or you can just start doodling because you're going to suck. But you're going to get better every time you do it because it's not about time. It's not about age. I mean, we don't need to get into, childhood and stuff like that. I'm talking about adults. So, like, it's not about, like, you being 18, as far as, like, transgenderness goes, like, that same exact feeling, if you have not done anything about it, it is very unlikely that anything would have changed in like 20 or 30 or 40 years. And that's the overwhelming experience for a lot of people I've known who have transitioned much later in life, like in their 60s and 70s. They wish they did it earlier. They wish they could have. Sometimes it was like literally like the only people who could get the surgeries and stuff were like wealthy people or people who saved up tens of thousands of dollars, all sorts of stuff. Like, things were different, but some people did have the option, but they chose not to because they're like, oh, but maybe I'll wait until my kids grow up. The kids grow up and then they're like, oh, maybe I need to wait until I get a better job. They get a better job. Oh, maybe I should wait until, like, it's always going to be that way. And so you just have to do it. Just like art. Like, I can't wait for some magic moment to start becoming an artist. I just have to pick up a pencil and start drawing. right? Like, you just learn by doing it. You'll be ready. You're not going to be ready, but you're going to make yourself the person who can handle it. Sometimes I wish I was cis, it would have been easier, obviously. But then at the same time, I really love who I am. If I was a cisgender person, I'd be a different person. And so I wouldn't even know the difference. And so I would have different problems, probably. But I think that, like, this idea of, oh, I wish I was cis, it's like, well, you aren't. And that's okay. And I think it's just like letting other people catch up to the reality we already know. Like, I already know what it looks like when things work out. Those people don't get it yet. And it's hard because some of these people are doing very things that are making me very terrified about the future. But what are your pronouns? She, her. Um, I'm not ashamed to talk about these things. I prefer not talking about them, but I'm not afraid of it. And I think that it's not other people's decision. People would be like, oh, why are you always talking about trans stuff? And I'm like, what if I was talking about Dragon Ball Z? Would you have a problem with that? I think Dragon Ball Z is pretty badass. Some people in chat might have a problem with that. Because they're like, why are you always talking about Dragon Ball Z? Like, like, but for some reason, transgender stuff is uncomfortable for them. Well, then I'm going to keep talking about it because I need them to understand that this isn't something they get to decide. If they're going to be uncomfortable, then they're not ready yet. Put it back in the oven. I'm going to keep talking about it. They should cope harder. Like, oh, why are you always talking about transgender stuff? Leave the political content out. Like, me saying, talking about transgender stuff isn't inherently political. DBZ is lame. Ah, fuck off. You see what I'm saying, though? Like, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't want me to talk about Dragon Ball Z. So there's definitely going to be people who don't like that I talk about being trans. They're like, oh, why don't you just move on with your life? You already transitioned. Why are you still talking about it? It's like, it's a significant part of who I am, and it's not something I'm afraid of. I'm not treating it like it's some kind of taboo. It's not pornographic. Like, we talk about porn all the time over here. But it ain't that. Is that Crimson Chin? Like, yeah, well, thank you for stopping by, Kuba. I'm glad you found my channel. I'm glad it resonates with you. Feels like your head is gonna explode. I'm sorry, Serby. I hope you feel better. Try turning off all the lights and resting your eyes. I know it's like kind of maybe I shouldn't be telling one of my viewers to stop watching the stream, but maybe you should turn off the stream and just turn off the lights and have a nice rest, have a nice cup of like herbal tea, drink plenty of water, and I hope you feel better. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck this is, but it's kind of cool. Like this almost looks like a hand. Kind of energy pulse. Some scumbling. Get the depiction of the energy and then the focal point. It's an abstract sled. Female Killian Murphy. Yeah, I know people have said that before. I look like female Killian Murphy. My eyes, they're like blue green. Sliding down the mountain. Oh, I see the sled. Yeah, there's this a sled. I see it. Like it's like, and it's a head. It's a face. But it also looks like it's like a face of like a Mega Man type. It's like a Mega Man, and got like a power ball coming from the hand. Um, it's like the armor. right? Torso right there, and then there's the back. There's the torso. Uh, some kind of cloak over him. And then his arm coming out there. Yeah. There's like a cloak going over, and then there's some of the armor. Right? And he's like making like an energy beam like Goku. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting, but it is what it is. A little bit off. The proportions of stuff is a little bit off, but it's okay. Sending love. Well, good night, Kuba. Calling a night. Thank you again for all the kind and needed words. I'll give your channel found me. I'm glad your channel found me. I'll be sure to stop by. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad I helped. Now it's a JoJo stand. Yeah, Alexis, this is whatever it wants to be, I guess. Some kind of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't know. Yeah, I think anymore. I think if I touch this too much, it's just gonna get muddy. So it is what it is. Um, Time to give it a. This is like the kind of like I need to say goodbye to this picture. So there we go. 02/18 Wednesday. There we go. Well, hope you guys like this one. We had two pictures today. Pastel earlier, where I was just experimenting with the pastel. and this picture, whatever it is. This, like, Mega Man looking dude. It looks like he's from, like, Mega Man meets JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Here, maybe if I hold this up to the light. Like, oh. Like, that'd be cool if it was transparent. Like, if I could see the background, like, wouldn't that be cool? If I could just insert this into the background. Like a green screen, like it was a green screen. Yeah, well, there we got the two different pictures today. Yeah, the two different pictures. Okay, let's go a little bit. Okay, a little bit of overlap in order to fit both of these. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that's yeah, we did these two today. Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Let me just get a screenshot so I can archive it. Get a screenshot of this one so I can archive it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I think I enjoyed today's stream, and we got those two pieces of art done, for better for worse, and we had some good conversation. Glad I could be helpful, sharing some advice to another trans woman out there, and to anybody out there who's struggling with anybody who doesn't really accept them for who they are. I feel like that's like the one thing that like transgender people understand very viscerally, that actually applies to everybody, because everybody's had an experience in some level, I think, with their parents or some other family members or people in their life who have this own version of themselves, of who they are in their head, and they do something that goes against that, and then they have friction, right? Like, I thought you were a doctor, but why are you studying to do become an architect? I thought you went to college to become a doctor. I thought that's who you were. And then you go study. You said, well, I never really wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be an architect. And now I'm going to school for being an architect. They're like, but I already paid for school. And right? Like, all your college money was going towards your medical doctor, and you're just going to throw it all away so that you can be an architect. But you're really a doctor. Why are you giving up on being a doctor? They don't know who you are. Like, so it's like, I think that's like one of the few things that, like, being a transgender person, going through what I went through, like with all my surgeries, you're showing people who you actually are, and the people who have an issue with it are the people who had a different version of you in their head to begin with. And when you go against that, it's just that's a fundamental change for them. So it's like very obvious when it's that. But if it was something else, like you're a doctor but you want to be an architect, right? Everyone in your life sees you as a doctor. You're like Dr. Lauren, right? If I was a doctor and then I said, well, actually I want to be an architect, everyone in your life would be like, but you're a doctor. And it's like, no, I am Rebecca and I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I want to be an architect. Like, if that was what was going on, like, everyone knows you as a doctor. They don't know you outside of that. They don't, even when they're like your close friends and you spend time outside of work, they see you as their friend, the doctor, right? So it's like, that's a big deal if you do something different. So it's like, it's almost like that. Just be a good gal. Exactly, Advita. Good things gonna happen, bro. Hell yeah. Do a dab. Anyway, I enjoyed making some art today with you guys, and it's been 2.5 hours, and so I'm gonna get going and just kind of take a break, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.